Hello everyone, this is Mochiko from Buffet Lab. Today I am going to the buffet at Seafood Buffet Dining, Ginza Happo, Shinjuku. I visit all you can eat at hotels more than 50 times a year. I share the latest information about hotel buffets in Tokyo, so please subscribe to my channel and turn on notification to see my new videos. It's no charge. I can't stop feeling excited today. Guess what? The famous Ginza Happo has now opened a location in Shinjuku. It's located just a 1-minute walk from Shinjuku Sanchome Station. Let's head right in. The variety of dishes is amazing. Seafood arranged like an overseas market, sushi, meat, and even Chinese dishes. The lineup is so incredible, it's almost overwhelming. Where should I start? As always, it's hard to decide, but let's begin with the appetizer. First, these candied sweet potato. Next is carpaccio. The fish slices are huge. Here's a broccoli salad loaded with mayonnaise. Next up, yodari chicken. Let's drizzle some sauce on it. And here we have fresh spring rolls. By the way, the drink selection at this buffet is quite extensive. For soft drinks, you can help yourself from this dispenser. But if you go further in, you'll find a paradise for alcohol lovers. It's so luxurious. I don't usually drink alcohol at buffets, so I stuck with soft drinks this time too. But with such an impressive lineup, I was tempted to have just one glass. Chinese jellyfish salad. The large jellyfish pieces look so authentic. The crunchy texture of the jellyfish and the sweet and spicy seasoning are so appealing. This seasoning is addictive, and the crunchiness makes it fun to eat. Fresh spring roll. The spring roll wrapper is slightly firm and the veggies inside are super crunchy. The spicy dipping sauce pairs perfectly, making this dish easy to keep eating. Yodari chicken. The chicken is tender and juicy, and the rich, flavorful sauce is irresistible. It has an authentic Chinese taste that's deeply satisfying. Shrimp and broccoli salad. The colors are so vibrant. The crunchy broccoli and bouncy shrimp are a fantastic combination. The creamy mayonnaise-based sauce coats everything nicely, adding a smooth, rich flavor. Fresh fish carpaccio. Seafood is one of the highlights of this buffet, so I was excited to try this. The fresh fish carpaccio has a zesty lemon flavor, making it light and refreshing. Candied sweet potatoes. The outside is crispy, the inside fluffy and soft, and the sweetness is just right. The sugar coating on the outside is crunchy and sweet, making it absolutely irresistible. I'm still deciding what to get next. It's so hard to choose. Let's move on to the Chinese dishes. First, xiaolongbao, next shumai with a large shrimp on top. And here's some pork, which seems to go in these steamed buns. These steamed dumplings look delicious too. Shumai. Let's start with these shumai topped with shrimp. They look so appetizing. Let's dig in. The shumai are packed with flavorful meat, and the shrimp adds a fantastic texture. It's such a luxurious treat, and I could eat these endlessly. Xiaolongbao. I was going to try these next, but wait, where's the spoon? How am I supposed to eat this? Steamed dumplings. Moving on, let's try these. The translucent chewy wrappers are amazing. Inside they're stuffed with glass noodles and various ingredients. The filling is rich in flavor and it pairs perfectly with the chewy wrapper. Xiaolongbao, take 2. I found a spoon, so it's time for a redo. The meat juices bursting out are incredible. The way the rich broth floods your mouth is just heavenly. The wrapper is chewy and the flavorful broth is pure happiness. Braised pork belly with steamed bun. Next is this dish. The steamed bun is opened up and filled with the tender pork belly. The fluffy bun pairs beautifully with the melt-in-your-mouth pork belly. The light sweetness of the bun and the savory pork are a perfect match. The balance of saltiness and sweetness is just amazing. Next up, sashimi. First, scallops. Then lean tuna. Here's what seems to be sea bream. Next is salmon. Is this yellowtail? And finally, octopus. To finish, fatty tuna. And don't forget to grab some wasabi. Just by looking at them, you can tell they're fresh. The scallops are sweet and melt in your mouth. Their freshness really stands out. Lean tuna. The fishy aroma is a bit noticeable. Honestly, it's a bit strong, so it might be an acquired taste for some people. Sea bream. Moving on to the shiny, elegant fish. Look at that glistening flesh. The fat is perfectly balanced, and the slightly chewy texture of the skin is so enjoyable. Next is everyone's favorite, salmon. The texture is buttery and the fat is perfectly distributed. The flavor is a guaranteed win. Absolutely delicious. Yellowtail. It has a firm texture and is rich with fat. The signature bold umami of yellowtail spreads throughout your mouth. So satisfying. Lastly, we have octopus. The crunchy texture is irresistible, such a fun bite. The more you chew, the more flavorful it becomes. To end the sashimi selection, fatty tuna. Look at that shine from the fat. It's sure to be amazing. It melts in your mouth perfectly. Rich but not overwhelming. This is the ultimate fatty tuna. So good. Now for some shellfish, time to grill them. Starting with the classic scallops, of course with butter. Next, clams, and then finally oysters. While waiting for them to grill, I'll grab something else to eat. Perhaps some Chinese food, seafood mapo tofu. I went for this dish, which is no ordinary mapo tofu. It's loaded with seafood. How luxurious. Back to the table, time to grill the shellfish. First up, clams, then scallops, and finally oysters. Since oyster shells tend to pop when heated, I covered them with a lid and waited. Meanwhile, I enjoy the seafood mapo tofu. It looks pretty spicy. The tofu is packed with crab and the heat hits hard. It's super spicy. My lips are tingling, but the spice is addictive. The crab flavor comes through strongly, making this dish hearty and satisfying despite the heat. The shellfish is ready. Scallops. First, butter soy sauce scallops. The aroma is mouth-watering. The natural sweetness of the scallops and the savory butter soy sauce are a perfect match. These scallops are so plump and high quality, you can taste it. Oysters. Next up, oysters. They look plump and rich, very promising. As expected, they're rich and creamy. The ultimate oyster flavor. It's like the taste of the sea concentrated into one bite. Finally, clams, simple yet packed with flavor. They're full of natural umami and absolutely delicious. Off to the next station, prosciutto. This time the prosciutto is sliced fresh right in front of you. How amazing is that? I paired it with melon to make prosciutto and melon. The saltiness of the prosciutto and the juicy sweetness of the melon are irresistible. This sweet and salty combo is a classic for a reason. Next, more seafood. First, crab. This one is king crab. Then snow crab. Next, spiny lobster, and finally red shrimp, snow crab. Let's start with the classic snow crab. The meat is tender and sweet, highlighting the quality of the crab itself. Such reliable, delicious flavor. King crab. Look at this thick, juicy meat. The richness of the flavor is shocking. Thick, juicy, and sweet. It's pure luxury and a must-have for crab lovers. Spiny lobster, the star of premium ingredients. Spiny lobster. How is this even on a buffet? It feels unreal. The texture is bouncy and the sweetness is so refined. Red shrimp. Lastly, red shrimp. The vibrant color and silky texture scream deliciousness. It's rich, sweet, and has a smooth texture that's so addictive. Every piece of seafood here has been truly exceptional. I'm heading back to the buffet for more. First, let's start with this meat dish. It's so luxurious, isn't it? I'll also grab this oyster dish. Black Wagyu beef wrapped in foie gras. The foie gras melts into the beef, creating a perfect harmony. The crunchy texture of the carrots and zucchini on the side adds a lovely accent. Oysters with asparagus and butter. This has to be delicious. The oysters are creamy and the asparagus has a nice crunch. The buttery aroma that fills your mouth is pure happiness. Let's grab more seafood. Once again, I couldn't resist the crab. For the finale, I'm going for Shanghai crab. How luxurious. Shanghai crab. This dish is limited to one per person. I wasn't sure how to handle it at first, but a kind staff member showed me what to do. Thank you so much. Look at the rich golden roe. It looks amazing. The roe is plentiful and packed with a rich flavor. This is such a premium dish. Red snow crab. Next up is red snow crab. As today truly feels like crab heaven. The meat is tender and sweet, and it makes me feel so indulgent. Off to the tank. First, abalone. Next, I was surprised by the live tiger prawns. They're moving. Then this shellfish, and finally turban shell. Everything looks incredibly fresh. This is so exciting. Back at the table, time to grill with tiger prawn. Grilled to perfection, the prawn looks absolutely delicious. It's tender and sweet, and the charred aroma enhances the flavor perfectly. Abalone is such a treat. I feel like all my hard work this year has paid off. I added butter and soy sauce to the abalone, and the aroma was heavenly. The chewy texture and the rich soy butter flavor pair perfectly. This is a kind of dish you could eat endlessly. And since it's all you can eat as much as you want. I'm not sure what this shellfish is called since it wasn't labeled, but let's give it a try. It has a chewy texture that's really enjoyable. The rich sea aroma is delightful. Turban shell. The chewy texture is so satisfying, and every bite releases more umami. Off to the sushi station. First shrimp, then tuna, followed by salmon topped with salmon roe. How fancy. Next squid, and then anago, sea eel. Here's halibut, and for the final piece, scallop. Scallop sushi. The scallop looks amazing. It's sweet and fresh, and the popping texture of the flying fish roe on top adds a delightful accent. Halibut sushi. The delicate appearance raises my expectation. It has a tender yet slightly firm texture with subtle umami that's truly elegant. Sea eel sushi. Even though sushi fills me up quickly, I can't resist anago. It's one of my favorites. The fluffy eel pairs perfectly with the sweet and savory sauce. It melts in your mouth. It's just heavenly. Squid sushi. This one comes with sauce drizzled on top. The sauce enhances the flavor of the squid, and the chewy texture is so enjoyable. Salmon sushi. Salmon is a sushi classic, but this one is topped with salmon roe. What a treat! The buttery salmon pairs perfectly with the popping texture of the salmon roe. This combination is unbeatable. Bluefin tuna sushi. Bluefin tuna always feels extra special. It melts in your mouth. What an incredible piece of tuna. So satisfying. Steamed shrimp sushi. The texture of the shrimp is so plump and bouncy. By the way, I just noticed they're using red vinegar for the sushi rice. Such a nice detail. The red vinegar adds a subtle tanginess that ties everything together perfectly. Shark fin soup. This soup is packed with generous amounts of shark fin. It's such a luxurious dish. The silky rich soup is full of tender shark fin. It's incredibly indulgent and warms you right up. Absolutely comforting. Next, let's move on to the meat. Yes, it's not just seafood. You can even grill your own meat here. This is just too luxurious. And guess what? They have Wagyu beef as well. This next cut looks delicious too. Then there's Wagyu sirloin, followed by Wagyu round, and yes, it's Wagyu as well. Finally, I picked up some beef tongue. Don't forget the yakiniku sauce. It's a must. And on my way back, I decided to grab one more sushi piece that I didn't take earlier. Back at the table, and I plan to eat the sushi while waiting for the meat to cook. But it seems the meat is grilling faster than expected. Let's start with the meat first. Wagyu rib roast. The crispy seared surface and juicy appearance are perfect. The tender melt-in-your-mouth texture of the beef pairs beautifully with the sweet sauce. Wagyu sirloin. For this one, I added a bit of spicy miso for extra flavor. The slight kick from the spicy miso is addictive. The meat itself is incredibly juicy and delicious. Wagyu top blade, misuji. This looks so tender. The rich umami of the beef is packed into every bite. Wagyu rump cap, togarashi. This cut comes from the shoulder area. The meat is juicy and every bite bursts with umami. So flavorful and satisfying. Wagyu chuck flap sankaku. The balance of fat and tenderness is perfect. As expected, it's soft and flavorful, leaving you completely satisfied. Wagyu brisket kalbi. I grilled this one until it was extra crispy, which turned out to be quite fun. The crispy texture is surprisingly enjoyable. Wagyu round. This leaner cut is lighter but still packed with flavor. The perfect choice if you're in the mood for something less heavy. Beef tongue with green onion and salt. I added a generous squeeze of lemon before digging in. The crunchy texture, rich beef flavor, and refreshing lemon make for an excellent combination. This is a must try. Salmon roe ikura. Ending with one final piece of sushi, this overflowing mound of ikura is irresistible. The popping texture of the roe is so fun to eat. Next up, Peking duck. I've been curious about it since I saw it while grabbing the prosciutto earlier. This Peking duck isn't just about the crispy skin. You also get to enjoy the meat. Let's roll up the Peking duck. First, I spread some sweet sauce, then add the duck meat, followed by green onions and cucumber. The soft, slightly chewy wrap pairs perfectly with the tender meat and sweet savory sauce. The crunch of the green onions and cucumber adds the perfect contrast. Next, off to the Chinese food corner. First, a stir-fry dish. This one looks spicy. Then abalone, just looking at it makes me happy. Next is shrimp. Looks crispy and delightful. Here's another meat dish. And now for sweet and sour pork. Of course, chili shrimp is a must as well. I even spotted a spiny lobster dish. And lastly, another stir-fry dish. Let's start with this classic. Chili shrimp is a staple of Chinese cuisine. The plump shrimp is perfectly coated in a rich, spicy sauce. The subtle heat from the sauce is just right. It's the kind of spice that makes you want to keep eating. Spiny lobster in butter sauce. This is such a luxurious dish. The lobster meat is firm and flavorful, and the buttery aroma is amazing. Sweet and sour pork with black vinegar. The sauce has a bold black vinegar flavor that goes perfectly with the juicy pork. So delicious. Beef stir fry with black pepper. The beef is tender and the aroma of black pepper is incredibly appetizing. Spicy fried shrimp. I love this dish. It's one of my favorites. The crispy coating is infused with spices, giving it a roasted aromatic flavor. Stir-fried yumak choy choy. This dish looks so simple yet so appetizing. The crunchy texture is irresistible. The light saltiness makes it refreshing. Abalone in XO sauce. Once again, abalone is such a treat. The chewy texture of the abalone gives it a satisfying bite. Crisp bell peppers and the rich XO sauce balance the dish beautifully. It's absolutely delicious. Stir-fried squid in hot and sour sauce. This one looks spicy. The chewy texture of the squid pairs perfectly with the tangy and spicy sauce. Like the mapo tofu earlier, the spice level is quite authentic. Let's head back to the buffet table. First up, egg tarts. They look absolutely delicious. Next, crab cream croquettes with plenty of sauce drizzled on top. And of course, no Chinese selection is complete without sesame ball. The spring roll. This spring roll seems longer than usual, doesn't it? The exterior is super crispy and inside it's filled with octopus. That's a pretty unique twist. Crab cream croquette. Inside there's even a crab claw. The crispy coating and creamy crab filling are a perfect match. Egg tart. Next, just a small dessert, an egg tart. The tart is crispy and the filling is creamy. The sweetness and crunchy texture are perfectly balanced, so addictive. Sesame ball. Next is one of my all-time favorites. I've loved these since I was a kid. The chewy texture of the sesame-coated ball filled with sweet sesame paste is perfection. Now it's dessert time. First this chocolate cake, then a cheesecake. This one looks like a mousse. Next is a shortcake and another chocolate dessert. Finally, I grabbed some frozen strawberries from the freezer. Du Cafe. This seems to be a coffee-flavored cake. The chocolate mousse has a silky texture and you can taste a roasted coffee bean-like aroma. On shortcake, the smooth cream and the strawberries are so tempting. The cream is light and milky and the tartness of the strawberries adds a refreshing balance. Ananas palm. Ananas means pineapple, and palme means apple. The light mousse melts in your mouth, and the fresh pineapple aroma is absolutely delightful. Hokkaido fromage. This smooth cheese mousse is incredibly creamy. The sweet and tangy blueberry sauce layered inside adds a perfect accent. Gâteau au chocolat. This rich chocolate cake has walnuts inside, making for a moist and dense texture. Strawberry sherbet. This was something I'd never seen before. It has condensed milk in the center. The icy texture of the strawberry is refreshing. It's a great palate cleanser. And with that, I'm finished. Here are my favorites from this meal. Mochiko's top pick. Everything was delicious, but here are my absolute favorites. Seafood mapo tofu. This dish was seriously spicy, but as I was editing my notes, I found myself wanting to eat it again. It's packed with crab, and the spiciness has a sharp, tingling kick. The addictive flavor had me completely hooked. Red snow crab. From the crab paradise, this one stood out as my favorite. The meat was tender and sweet, with a perfect texture. Simply amazing. Candied sweet potatoes. These were absolutely fantastic. The outside was crispy, while the inside was soft and fluffy. I especially loved the crunchy, sugary coating on the outside. I was truly satisfied with the whole experience. While the price is on the higher side considering the seafood paradise, plus the variety of meat and sushi, I'd say it's totally worth it. It really feels like a food amusement park, and I can't wait to visit again. Thank you for watching until the end. I share the latest information about hotel buffets in Tokyo, so please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to see new videos. I post new buffet videos every week, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button. See you at the next buffet.